Believe me, it's a really good thing that the nomads can't just come and go around Valsembor as they please anymore.
That big boat, the Krystal, it's been rotting at the dock for years.
Things are heating up for Mayor Bulyakin.
My squid is absolutely fresh, miss. Listen, miss, it's fresh.
We're going to see the nomad souk. Apparently they have good prices.
Since the town hall closed the port, we sometimes get the impression we're living in a ghost town.
Hi there. Anything biting?
As if. 20 years there's been fewer fish, but sometimes you can get lucky. Go figure. It's really odd.
You seem to know the region well. Maybe you can fill me in a bit. I'd like to know a little bit more about the local legend. I was told that there's a monster down there, living at the bottom of the lake.
It's not a legend.
And how can you be so sure?
Back when, the lake froze over earlier in the season. People would go out and make holes in the ice in the middle of the lake, then fish like that. Sometimes they would even set up these cabins for the winter next to the hole. The old folk always said you should only cut a small hole, just wide enough so the fish could be pulled through when you landed them. No more than that. One day, this guy who was kind of odd cut a really big hole. To make it easier, he said. In case he caught a really big one. You don't have to believe me, but he's the one who went into the hole. Backwards. Into the depths. In less time than it takes to say it, the monster's arm came through the hole, then dragged the poor guy down to the bottom of the lake. That's why the old folks say never make a big hole in the ice, because of the monster that lurks below.
And how do you know all that?
Because the poor guy was my older brother. And I was fishing just next to him that day. So you think what you want. You have a good day, miss.
Are you okay, sir? One more step and you were in the drink.
E-N-O.
Pardon?
It's me, Captain Oto. Obo! Proud commander of the just as proud Krystal. So don't you, sir, me.
Well, delighted. Captain, I'm Kate Walker. I'm looking for Steiner's, the clockmaker.
If I fall in the water, Taylor, it'll be to go straight to hell. So don't fall in the water, Sale. You understand? Bastard's waiting for me.
Who are you talking about?
The monster of the lake is waiting for us all, miss. Everyone's time comes eventually. To finish the work. Come on, back in the fight. Because you can never lower your guard. Never.
Hello? Anyone here? Poor Captain. Even though his superstitions terrify him, he's obviously dreaming of a second chance. A tavern.
Ah, miss, delighted to see that you finally managed to leave the Youkole camp.
Yes, thank you very much for the pass.
Well, now that you're at last here, you'll be able to taste my famous borscht.
It would be my pleasure, but I do have to find Steiner the clockmaker right away.
Simon Steiner? Ah, in that case, you should speak with Sara, our young waitress. She's his granddaughter.
How are things in town? They don't seem to be going that well.
If you ask me, the atmosphere is horrible. At least half the people don't want the Youkoles right at our door. Most of the shopkeepers even made the decision to go on strike over what they saw as unfair competition. Also, Valsembor hasn't been the same in the last 20 years. There it is.
I met that man recently. A certain Captain Oto. He doesn't seem very with it.
And he's been that way for 20 years, miss. 20 years. Can you imagine? He used to command the Krystal, the boat that made the crossing between here and the amusement park, on the other side of the lake. And he wasn't the same man then.
Is Simon Steiner well known here in Valsembor?
For a long time, he was rather popular. You know, he isn't just a clockmaker. He knows everything about mechanical objects. He repaired everything for everybody here in Valsembor. He also designed the amusement park on the other side of the lake with a colleague of his. A French automaton creator, if I remember right. You could say Valsembor owes a lot to Simon Steiner, miss. So when he got sick, I offered to hire Sara to help a little. You understand?
I'm off. Thank you again for your help.
See you soon, miss.
Excuse me, please, miss.
Yes?
I'm looking for Simon Steiner's.
Simon Steiner is my grandfather. My name is Sara. Sara Steiner.
Pleased to meet you, Sara. I'm Kate Walker. Can you tell me where I can find your grandfather's workshop?
Of course. You'll find his shop is at the end of the alleyway, on the left, just as you leave it, in the main avenue. Can I ask what you want with him? Because he's rather old, you know.
I'm accompanying the Youkole caravan. Apparently your grandfather is supposed to be making a mechanical prosthesis for Kirk, their spiritual chief, who had a bad accident recently. Without the artificial leg, Kirk won't be able to go along with the great migration of his people. And on top of that, the Youkoles won't leave without their guide.
You're accompanying the Youkoles? My God, you're so terribly lucky. When I was little, Grandfather used to tell me all about their adventures, full of mystery and magic.
Do you like life in Valsembor?
Oh, there's really not that much to talk about here, you know. I spend all my time here or with Grandfather since he got sick.
There was no one who could keep an eye on him for you?
We can't afford it, I'm afraid. I also think I prefer it this way. My grandfather is my only family.
I guess you're pretty close to your grandfather?
Yes. Of course he can get a bit grumpy, especially the last few years. But he's actually really adorable, and you should see the work he does. Give him a few cogs and springs, and he'll give you some unbelievably incredible invention. He almost makes mechanical objects seem alive.
I see exactly what you mean. I used to know someone like that too.
The only problem we have is that business collapsed when he got sick. I really do believe that if I didn't have the waitressing jobs to make ends meet, we'd probably have to close up shop.
You seem to like the Youkole, Sara. I get the impression that's rare in Valsembor.
It's true that when it comes to the Youkoles, people around here can be a bit silly. They go out of their way to make the nomads scapegoats for all of the town's problems since they got stuck here.
But you don't, do you?
Of course not. Grandfather told me that he has actually seen 3 or 4 of the great ostrich migrations in his lifetime, and he always really respected those strange people. He even made sure I would admire them too, you know.
Thank you for your help.
I'll be stopping in to see Grandfather on my next break. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yes, I hope so. Goodbye, Sara.
No Youkoles in Valsembor! The shopkeepers can't...
Excuse me. What's happening here?
Isn't it obvious? We're demonstrating against having the Youkole nomads parked on our doorsteps.
But what for?
Since they came to Valsembor, there's been no end to the shoplifting and vandalism, and on top of that, their souk is taking our customers. Mayor Bulyakin has to do something, and fast. We're not leaving until he receives our delegation.
But why won't the mayor talk to you?
Because he's a schmuck. He wants the nomads to continue their migration as much as us, but he's too afraid of annoying his higher-ups. And while he's gaining time by playing both sides of the board, we're watching our sales go through the floor.
The authorities are asking the mayor to prevent the migration from continuing? They want the Youkoles to stay blocked in Valsembor?
That's what people are saying, but if you want my opinion, the only thing the mayor is waiting for is someone to get rid of those savages without him having to get his hands dirty.
What? That statue? No, it's impossible. If you were only here to see this, Oscar. Steiner. Hello. Are you Mr. Steiner? I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Steiner. My name is Kate Walker, and I've come to pick up the prosthesis for Kirk, the Youkole spiritual guide.
And well, dear Miss Walker, Dr. Efimova has informed me that the young man was not yet in any sort of condition to withstand the operation, and that...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
It is impossible. That pendant you have around your neck. I would be very obliged if you would entrust me with it for a moment. Please, Miss Walker. Mein Gott! An XZ-2000 automaton heart in perfect working condition! A compensating spring memory, pendulum ventricles, and small mechanical pumps. Everything seems in excellent condition. Donnerwetter! Where on earth did you steal this, Miss Walker?
What? Are you calling me a thief, Mr. Steiner? I haven't stolen anything from anyone. This is all I have left of my friend Oscar. Give it back to me right now.
Ah, so. And yet I am actually very familiar with this type of precision mechanism. An infernal precision. Incredible, unique expertise. For this was a Vorarlberg automaton, Miss Walker.
Yes. It was Hans Vorarlberg who designed this object. Tell me, did you know him?
Oh, yeah. He even lived here a few years. We did a lot of work together. He taught me so many different things, you know. So it is useless to try and make up silly stories, Miss Walker. And I am afraid that I am not about to allow you to leave here as long as you have not told me the truth about where this object comes from.
Oh, don't bother locking me in, Mr. Steiner. If you must know, the truth is that Hans Vorarlberg was someone who was very important to me. I accompanied him on a very strange journey throughout Europe. And that object in your hand is the only souvenir I have of that adventure.
That proves nothing, Himmelherrgott! Hans would never have given this to...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
My heart... need... my medication! Quickly!
Just don't move. I'll go and get your medication right away. A woman's writing saying, "Grandfather, don't forget to take your medication 3 hours before dinner."
Thank you for your precious help, my dearest Miss Walker. I'm afraid I may have judged you somewhat hastily.
Don't mention it, Mr. Steiner. Tell me about the prosthesis. I need to take it back to Kirk very quickly, if, of course, you agree to let me have it.
Yeah. I just have a few small adjustments to make. It involves very precise and meticulous mechanics, understand?
Will it take long? I'm sorry to insist, but I also have to give a hand to those unfortunate Youkoles. I need to help them get across the lake with their herd of ostriches. I'm so worried about them.
Once the mechanical leg is at last ready, I can go to the clinic and bring back young Kirk to you. That way you only have to worry about what happens to the other Youkoles.
You'd do that, Mr. Steiner? That would really be a great help.
So, perfect. But dear Miss Walker, are you aware of what lies in store for the nomads when they reach the other side of the lake?
You want to talk about everything that happened in Baranor 20 years ago.
How on earth did you hear about the story, miss? The authorities have always done everything that was in their power to keep this terrible business absolutely quiet.
I read the ship's log that Captain Oto wrote at the time. Tell me exactly what happened there, Mr. Steiner.
It has become a true hell on Earth since the time of the last great ostrich migration. Please join me downstairs for a moment, Miss Walker. I'll show you exactly what I mean.